Welcome back, everybody, to our second part of our third episode here on the CX channel. We are covering today bakery stores, and we're going to dive into part two, which is going to cover the customer journey, as well as the steps, the activities, and the touch points. And we'll also talk about a starter voice of the customer survey. So first, we'll stab into the customer journey here. And so the customer journey, just to catch up for anybody who's brand new to the podcast or new to CX, the customer journey is the concept of the customer's journey through the brand. So think about someone thinking they need to buy a cake for a birthday party, then they go and peruse online perhaps what options there are nearby them, and then they start reading reviews, and then they make their way to the store. They get to the store, and they go inside and they experience the ambiance and talk with the employees and so on and so forth, all the way to hopefully purchasing their product, and then afterwards enjoying the product and following up with brand advocacy and comments, and hopefully coming back and becoming a repeat customer. So that entire concept is the customer journey. We always classify the customer journey into 5 different stages, and each stage has a certain number of steps depending on the specific industry. And for bakery stores, we've identified 10 distinct steps reflecting the evolution of the customer experience. So here we have on this slide those 5 stages I mentioned across the top. You've got awareness, becoming aware of the brand and the products and such, deciding to go. Then you have the consideration, where they make the decision, and then the conversion, where they actually interact with the staff and the store and the product and so forth. And then the retention is after the fact, where they decide if they're going to come back or not. And then advocacy is your component, where they're hopefully championing the brand and recommending it to other people. And below each of those, you've got the various touch point interactions. So the different parts of that particular stage, and inside of each stage, you have a column there for steps. And inside of each step, you have the touch points that are the various parts of that company, that brand, the people, and so forth that the customer interacts with, whether it's the website or the payment system or the staff members themselves. Down below, there's a whole bunch of different descriptions of ways to measure the various parts of the customer journey. So you can use CSAT surveys, you can use NPS surveys, and so on. You can see down there different methodologies able to help you measure the CX of each of those steps. So the customer journey here for bakery stores is an interesting one, and we'll now move into our moment of truth. But before we get to that, let's just take some guesses. So where does everybody think we're going to get the best results or the worst results?
So for me, I think the best results will be in terms of loyalty. It should be, at least, because this is something that drives loyalty for sure, and recommendation. In terms of negative, I would say awareness, because there's so much competition, and this type of brands, they are not so active in terms of promotion. That's not just word of mouth. So if a customer is going online, of course they have their online reviews and everything, but it's sometimes difficult to find new places to experiment. Stefan, what do you think?
I think, Chris, that's the best. I'm agree with you that they don't really do marketing, but what's the best marketing is, again, I come back to my fans, creating fans in your bakery, and this is the best marketing that you can have. And be sure that it's very important to have this feedback, to have the surveys after also, but be sure that before that your client is leaving your bakery store, he's a fan. And if there are any frustrations, these frustrations need to be in the store and not out of the store. This is always a big tip that I say, and there are a lot of possibilities that you can do for this. Ask to your clients before they are leaving the bakery store, how was your experience? What do you think about the product, about the food. Ask the questions before they are leaving the store. And then I'm sure that you create a lot of fans. And this is the best that you can do about awareness and retention in these stores.
Mm-hmm. So in particular, there's an actual step here you can see that is the greeting from the bakery staff. That's probably a very, very important point in the consideration stage there.
Oh, definitely, to create excitement. I mean, we are going there to buy something that is delicious. It's not like we are going to a repair shop or something boring. This should be exciting. People should be in a good mood. Of course, the greeting is very important, how you welcome your customer at the store.
So I guess the question, do you think they'll do well there, or do you think overall the industry is not doing well there?
I wish they were perfect, but sometimes organizations fail at the basic, and the greeting part here in Portugal, if I think about Brazil, if I think about India, if I think about the countries that I visit often, unfortunately, this is something that many times is done in such an automatic way, so scripted, that the customer does not feel welcome as they should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I see in several studies that we are doing, Chris, that if the greeting is in an automatic way, the clients have a more negative perception than if you don't greet. Yeah, so it's you really, when you greet, it needs to be the extra smile really, and because if you don't have this smile, then you will not create a fan of in your store. And the big challenge in this sector is when there are more clients, when you are busy with another client, take the opportunity also to greet other clients who are coming in the shop. And this is a big challenge I see today.
And it makes a lot of difference if you have a queue of customers that are waiting. If you at least greet the people that are waiting, they are already acknowledge that they are there. So they are much more patient to wait for their turn.
That's a good point. There's also an interesting, I think it's an interesting point in this industry that we haven't encountered with the prior two. This is the first industry that we've encountered where, as a customer, you might just be buying a retail type of product that's already on the shelves. But in this case, you might also be there to commission something.
Yes.
So this is the first industry that we've encountered where you go in and you might actually be custom ordering something. And in that place, in that perspective, that interaction with the person is critical, starting with that greeting, because you're there to possibly spend quite a bit of money, depending on the event or what the occasion is. And you do want to feel like you're being taken care of. You're not just buying something off the shelf.
Yeah, absolutely. A design cake can easily cost 500 euros.
Yeah. Okay. Emil, any comments from you?
This time I know the data, so I'll have to abstain.
Oh.
He's probably wondering now, how can someone pay 500 for a cake?
I don't doubt this at all.
Well, Emil's got a cake coming up here, right? You just turned 50. Celebrated his 50th birthday.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. We'll have the cake right after the podcast, so you are invited.
That's good. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's jump into it and let's see our moment of truth here and see how this industry is doing. All right. So, interesting. So for those of you that haven't seen a customer journey plotted like this, what we've got here is the customer journey map that shows you the different steps of the customer journey from left to right, starting with the brand awareness and so forth, and moving through the various parts of the journey. The line represents the average rating based on the online customer reviews that we've scraped and analyzed. The circles, the points across the line, show you by their sizes how often people were talking about them. So you can see there that a very large number of people were actually talking about the product variety and quality, like we saw with the marketing mix elements. So the line moves up and down. You can see the averages there. Quite a number of sections that are in the yellow and even some in the red there, which is definitely not good. Then we have behind that the large gray kind of blob area. That is the variance, standard deviation of the mean for anybody who's interested in the math side of things with respect to that average. And so anywhere where there's a large spread of that gray blob, there is a wide level of potential inconsistency there operationally. And that would be a good place to target some objective studies and process refinement and training and so forth. But this is interesting. It looks like we've got definitely a major problem in the post-purchase communication area, and that probably aligns very well with what we saw earlier, where just poor not being responded to. So there might just be a general follow-up problem in this industry. I find that really interesting.
Yeah, and for me, what also stands out is the high variance in customer sentiment. I mean, many times this is caused because it's challenging to maintain customer service levels when the brand has multiple locations. And I was wondering, Stefan, based on your experience in this sector and with mystery shopping, how do you think that mystery shopping, for example, can be used to prevent or reduce at least this service inconsistency?
I think before answering your question, I think that first it's important that if you have several stores, that you create like a very easy, simply ceremonial de vente, I say in French. So it's what are we expecting of the different steps in the customer journey, and that you create it on a very easy way for your teams. And based on this, when you train and you coach your teams, you can set up your customer experience program. I don't like the word, this mystery shopping visits. I prefer the customer experience visits, because for me, customer experience visits, it's more than only measurements. It's a coaching tool. And before starting with this coaching tool, you need to give a support to your teams. And this is for me very important. So you take the time to before creating a customer experience program or the mystery shopping visits, before this, make what do we expect from our employees, give them support, and then you can start with your mystery shopping project. But please don't use it only as a measure tool. It's a coaching tool. This is very important. You need to use this and on a regular basis to coach your team. Very important.
And can you give an example? Just a practical example will probably help very much, especially the business owners in that micro industry that will be watching this podcast. Advice.
Yes, I mean, this industry and others as well that are very similar, like coffee shops, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think from my experience also, first of all, to decide what's the customer journey, what will we do, what are the different steps when the client is coming to my store. I always say it's not only the management team or the owners of a company who need to create this. Yeah, you create this together with the persons who are daily in contact with the clients. So make a brainstorming with your team about, okay, what do we expect? What do we want? How do we want that we talk about some products? Which are the products that we want to degustate? On which way? How do we want to give over the packaging to our clients? Do we want to open the door for our clients? There are so a lot of things that you can imagine and create something easy on maximum 1-2 pages. Yeah? And then but it needs to be created with your team so that each employee of your stores, they are ambassadors already of this. And then you can say, I use this as a basis to create my mystery shopping project. And the mystery shopping project, you make your questionnaire based on what you create with your teams on the customer journey. And do it on I received several times the questions, how many visits do we need to plan in a year? I always say it depends what you will do. You need to take time for each visit, each customer experience visit and report that you receive. You need to take the time to plan, to give feedback to your teams, to congratulate your teams, and to help them, to coach them with these reports. That's why I say on an average, every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, one visit in each store. I see that it gives a very important impact. We have several programs where we're doing this every 2 weeks, every month, one visit, and we are using the reports as a coaching tool, and it's not a measurement. And this is for me very.
That is really interesting because we have done training sessions together, and this is something that we always advise people that the results by itself, they will not improve if you don't do anything with the conclusions, and if you don't transform this into an action plan, into a training program, into a coaching initiative.
Stefan, with mystery shopping for a bakery store, so and for people listening to this podcast who don't know what mystery shopping is, that's someone who is being hired to go into the establishment and act like a customer, but they're actually doing like a checklist as they go in their head. So they're seeing were they greeted, how long did it take for them to be helped, was the employee knowledgeable about the products that they promote as special, and so on. Do you find any use for reveal mystery shops, where mystery shops at the end, the mystery shopper actually tells them, I was the mystery shopper here, and letting the staff know that actually was the mystery shop right then? Or do you tend to not use that approach in this particular instance of mystery shopping for this industry?
Yeah, I think we all know that a reveal visit, the impact of a reveal visit is higher than a normal customer experience visit. But there's a challenge. Because in a store like a bakery, when sometimes there is 1 or 2 employees, they don't always have the time, of course, also to take the time to listen to the feedback and to the coaching of this mystery shopper. So you just need to be sure with your client that there is a possibility to give this feedback also to the teams. So it's really depends on the organizations, how many employees are present in a store, but there are other solutions to give more impact to your teams also. An example, what you can do, the shopper have done his mystery shopping visit, he's filling in his questionnaire. I always say in a questionnaire you need to put a lot also, you have closed questions, but open questions where we can write down our emotions are very important, so that when the employees are reading the report, that they can really see what was the emotion also of the client. But another thing that we are doing, we are calling our mystery shoppers after their visits. And we are asking to the mystery shopping to tell also their experience, and it's audio recorded. And this audio we are sending to the stores so that they have the possibility to listen back really the experience of the client together with the report. And this is another solution if you are working with small teams in different stores.
Mm-hmm. This industry could also be a target for telephone mystery shopping, someone calling the establishment and discussing a cake ordering process, when could you have this ready and what are my options and so forth.
Yes, there's another possibility also. Yes.
Emil, since we've now all seen the data, what are your thoughts here?
Well, there are a couple of observations here that I think are just jump out of the chart. This journey is very different from the previous two journeys that we have seen. And I'll start with the commonalities. The commonalities is that we consistently see the post-purchase activities in retention, scoring in the attention area, in the red area. So that is consistent with the other two microindustry studies, and it is an opportunity for improvement. But here, the amount of conversations are not that many, judging by the surface of the dot, the area of the dot. But what I see is that this journey is lower compared to the others, in the sense that it is more in the fair or the yellowish orange area. And we see that a step with high level of prevalence in consideration and conversion, they're almost all in the fair area. And even if you look at the big green step, which is pertaining to the product, and you can expect that the product will be a focus of that industry. We do see that the deviation, and this gray area here on this chart is the one standard deviation across the average. So if we look at the deviation, we do see a lot of responses actually venturing into the fair area, almost to the entirety of the fair area. So that is us looking at the gray area in the product step, in the conversion. So overall, my conclusion here is that we see consistent post-purchase, but it is not, in my opinion, that critical here, because it is simply too little compared to the other steps. But what I can conclude is that overall, this micro industry shows lower results with regards to the customer journey perception, and even the green excellent areas are close to the borderline with the fair.
Yeah,
Obviously,
it's interesting.
Lots of opportunities for improvement here.
Yeah, definitely a lot of opportunities for improvement.
Yep. It's an interesting micro industry.
Yeah. Again, if you're interested in looking at this online, you can download our magazine for free at cx-channel.com. You can see this industry study yourself in PDF format and really dig into it and look it over. All right, shall we move on?
Yes.
Great. Okay, key takeaways here. Yeah, let's see. Improve the post-purchase engagement. Yes, definitely. There is strength in the initial engagement and the product variety. We definitely saw that. People are talking about the product a lot, and they seem to be doing fairly well, like you said, Emil, even though it is somewhat fair, close to the fair borderline. There is overall a good perception of product variety, which is interesting to see. There is a big value in the staff greeting, Stefan. I think we saw that was an area that was a nice big yellow in the prior slide. So there's a lot of value there that can be obtained just by, I think, coaching on that particular piece. There's a gap in the post-purchase support. The payment, packaging, post-purchase, all that stuff. There's, after you've made the sale, the next final steps are really, really important. And then, the need for refined measurement. This is a kind of a common theme we've seen with the other micro industries too, which is, customer reviews give you an idea of what customers are talking about and what they're thinking, but they don't show you exactly where in the process the improvements can take place. And so we definitely saw a lot of potential here in this particular customer journey map. We see a lot of potential for refined measurement to help improve the customer experience in this industry. So specific refinement programs like audits, but mystery shopping in particular probably has a very, very big role to play here in measuring the customer experience and also coaching. like you mentioned. All right. Well, now we're going to talk about creating a starter voice to customer survey. We do this with our various micro industries. And Emil, you can tell our audience all about this.
Absolutely. So in the realm of voice of the customer feedback surveys serve as a critical aid and supplement to the more common online reviews and ratings. So here, the significant challenge for businesses is to effectively capture valuable feedback simply because the attention span afforded by customers is time constrained. Therefore, creating the optimal voice of the customer survey is essential as it directly influences the quality and reliability of the feedback and the customer insights, which are pivotal for informed decision making and strategic planning. So therefore, our focus on this starter VOC survey is we aim to answer the question, what is the optimal starter VOC? Obviously, look for a survey which is simple and efficient, in essence, focusing what is important to the customers based on the data that we have already analyzed from the online reviews and ratings. So by analyzing the online reviews and ratings, we already know what customers talk about, what they care about the most, both in the customer journey and in the marketing mix. And by intersecting those, we can create a very simple and very efficient feedback survey. So this is what we are showing here. We believe in simplicity. And in this case, what we also aim is to minimize the open-ended responses. So it is great to receive open-ended responses, but those should not be excessive, should be very well gauged and minimal, simply because respondents tend to drop out at steps in the feedback process where they are supposed to put in more effort. So in short, we are looking at a structure of a starter VOC survey with 4 types of questions: primary question, key driver questions, 5 in this case, each answered with a category scale from 1 through 5. Key driver detail questions. So anytime when a key driver question was not responded with a 5-star, then we are going to drill down into the reasons for why the respondent did not give the 5-star rating. And these are the key driver detailed questions. And ultimately, we have a closing question. So that is, in a nutshell, the overall structure of the starter VOC survey. So to put it in the context of the bakery stores, we'll just take a look at the example starter VOC survey that we created based on the results from the online reviews and ratings. In this case, we are starting with a primary question, which is a customer satisfaction question, which gauges the overall brand satisfaction on a 1 through 5 scale. And this question is, how satisfied are you with the brand? So this is the primary question. Then we are delving into the key driver questions. There are 5 of those, and those are related to greetings, ambience, product variety and quality, assistance provided by the bakery staff, and efficiency of the checkout process. So these are all these blue bubbles. And the questions here look like, how satisfied are you with the greetings you received from our bakery staff? How satisfied are you with the ambience of our bakery store? How satisfied are you with the variety and quality of our baked goods, etc., etc.? This is us putting the key driver questions in the CSAT framework. So let's take the first one. How satisfied are you with the greetings that you received from our bakery staff? And let's assume that the respondent did not respond with 5 stars, but rather responded with the 5-star is here very satisfied, but rather responded with 1, 2, 3, or 4, which is very dissatisfied. Dissatisfied 3 is neither nor, so this is the neutral mark, and 4 is satisfied. So if we get any of those responses, we're going to dive deeper, drill deeper with a key driver detail question. So in the case of how satisfied are you with the greetings you receive from our bakery staff, we're going to follow up with a key driver detail question asking about the area of dissatisfaction, or what can we improve? And the question and the options here are warmth and friendliness, promptness in acknowledging, eye contact and smile, staff engagement level, willingness to assist. And we always have the other option, and this is the open-ended option. As I mentioned earlier, we want to minimize the use of open-ended responses simply because these tend to provoke dropout of the respondents, and we want to minimize the dropout rate. And ultimately, we get to the closing question, which in this case is an NPS or Net Promoter Score question, which reads on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend brand to a friend or colleague? We prefer to start with the satisfaction question and end with the Net Promoter question, because after the Net Promoter question, we can then take the respondent to an actionable step. If we are dealing with promoters, then we can direct those respondents to leave a review in the social media. If they're not, then we can then take it further and engage directly with those people, ask for direct contact, etc., etc., etc. So there are many opportunities and there are many possibilities. Again, the objective here is to offer a starter views survey, which is something that we can very easily implement. It is simple and efficient, focusing on what is important, and most importantly, the questions and the drill down areas are 100% based on the areas of opportunity that we have uncovered while analyzing the online reviews and ratings. So these are not random questions. These are questions and drill down areas which are direct consequence of what customers are talking about and what they care about the most. And
Great.
that is the start of the UC survey for the bakery stores.
Yeah, I'm sure people in this industry will find that useful. All right.
If maybe I can give a last tip about the surveys. I think very important is also the quality of the database, the emails, right? Because this survey is sent out by email most of the time, I think, Emil.
Or QR code at the establishment direct, or receipt. There are various ways which different channels are more prevalent for some micro industries versus others. So whatever works the best for the business. But yes, you're right.
This is a good opportunity here to give like a small gift for customers filling the survey. For example, in the receipt, they can have the QR code. And it's a great add-on to the online reviews that allows organizations to gather feedback on a regular basis and adjust the questions according to their needs, because these are target questions. And for business owners and for researchers as well, one of the most important lessons is the length of the survey, because there's no point of having 30 questions or a 20 minutes survey and expect that customers will participate. So, Stefan, you're talking about the quality of the results, and one of the things is, of course, the response rate as well. How do you advise our clients to get a good response rate in customer satisfaction surveys? Do you have any tips?
I think marketing, of course, the visual marketing about it, communicate about it on marketing. You can say to your clients also, inform your clients that they have the possibility to give their feedback on these surveys. And yeah, like I was saying, because we have done a study with some clients in Belgium, And we see that if you ask to the clients, can we receive your email address and do you want to receive emails? In Belgium, on 10, if you ask it to 10 clients, 7 to 8 clients give their email address. And from these 7, 8 clients, again, 7, 8 give the consent to receive emails. And this is a very important information, that you need to train and coach also your employees to ask, how do you ask an email address? Because if you ask, can we maybe receive your email address? Then the response will be you will not receive a lot of email addresses. And so it's part of the customer journey. It's part also of the mystery shopping program. How do employees asking the email address? This is so important to train and to coach also your people on this. We see also that we have in a lot of databases bounced emails, and that's also so important. Create maybe a pop-up on the cash desk when an email is not correct, an email address, so that you can ask to the client, there is an error in your email address. Can I check this with you? And this is really important, I think, so the quality of your data to use the surveys.
Yeah, and definitely, and building a database with the proper consent from customers to receive surveys, it's really like a gold mine. And business owners and researchers should be really responsible about any communications they send, because every time they send a message, they have to send the option to unsubscribe. So every communication is an unsubscribe possibility. So they really need to know how to communicate with customers and sending shorter surveys as the ones that Emil just showed to us, that are targeted to specific questions that are relevant to their experience.
There might also be a really good case in the examples of someone commissioning something like a birthday cake or a wedding cake or something like that. A simple phone call is a great way in those instances to get a great voice of the customer survey, just some feedback from the person after the fact.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you're talking about larger tickets, if you're talking about special cakes, or people many times are ordering different things for a party. A call will make a lot of difference, not only in terms of gathering the feedback, but it's the extra surprise in the end that you are contacted to make sure that you are happy with the product and the experience.
Excellent. Do you happen to have an study about this industry?
Yeah, we'll dive into more of this in part 3 as we continue the conversation. So thank you very much. This wraps up part 2 of our 3-part podcast for episode 3 here, diving into the bakery store micro industry. Please join us in part 3, where we will talk in great detail with Stefan and continue the conversation as our expert in this field.